Why is it that a top student from a prestigious university earning an annual salary of 400,000 yuan is still single well into his 30s? The reason is that every time he talked about his so-called 5-step plan in the past, many women said they just couldn't accept it. Today, the young man's mother is also here with us. Let's hear how such a high-quality older bachelor came to be and what their real thoughts are. Sis, you came so early again. None of us have even started work yet. You must have been waiting for a while, right? Oh, it wasn't that long. It's mainly because of our child's situation. I just can't stop worrying about it.
I can't sleep. He's into his 30s.
Not into 30s. Little over 30. Looks sound outstanding, top student, prestigious university, now technical manager company. You husband, well-educated, work public sector. With conditions like these, what worried about?
What's the use of being outstanding if he still can't even find a wife?
It's just because you mentioned that Minister Wu before. Can you tell me about it again?
First, people who speak harshly and can't talk nicely, don't be like that. No matter where you go, you'll end up offending people everywhere, especially those closest to you. The closer they are, the harsher your words become.
Well, maybe they just have a sharp tongue, but a soft heart. Nowadays, a lot of girls are spoiled at home and tend to be straightforward and outspoken.
Being straightforward and lacking proper upbringing are two different things. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. You've spent the whole day taking care of the kids and you're already exhausted. But as soon as your husband comes home, he starts criticizing you nonstop, saying you didn't do this well or that you didn't do that right. Wouldn't you feel wronged? In the same way, men work hard all day too and they're tired. If, as soon as he gets off work, you start arguing and making a fuss after a while, who wouldn't get fed up with that kind of life?
That's true. So what's the second point?
Being overly competitive, always needing to win or lose in everything. Don't go through each day thinking that the child is only the man's or that marriage is something only the man is responsible for, completely failing to realize that this family belongs to both of you. A man should appreciate his wife's contributions and sacrifices for the family, and a woman should understand how hard it is for a man to earn money to support the household. Husband and wife are supposed to be the closest of partners, not like heroines competing with the man over who works harder, comparing with your mother-in-law over whose words the man listens to more, or even dragging the child into it, asking whether they love dad or mum more, turning the home into a mess every day. Third, avoid those with improper family values and very low awareness. They think their daughter must receive a bride price from the groom's family as compensation for her parents.
Hey, let me ask, does your family not accept the idea of a bride price?
It's perfectly fine to ask for a reasonable token of appreciation. But if you open your mouth and practically want to skin the groom's family alive, we definitely can't accept that. It's just too heartless. Is there anything else? Fourth, we don't want girls who are into excessive spending ahead of their means. For example, if she only makes 5,000 or 6,000 a month, but carries bags worth tens of thousands and uses cosmetics that cost thousands, that's just too vain and materialistic, only caring about enjoying the moment with no sense of risk management. If you spend all your salary on eating, drinking, and having fun, what are you going to do if something unexpected happens? Who will handle it then?
So basically, we don't want girls who live paycheck to paycheck, who spend beyond their means, and we prefer those who have some savings.
That's pretty much what I mean. Fifth, we don't want girls who come from families with a bad atmosphere.
But her family background isn't something she can choose. Even if she's a really good person herself, is that still not okay?
When we say a good family atmosphere, we don't mean that her family has to be well off. We just hope she grew up in a loving environment, so she understands how a married couple should respect and care for each other. This includes families where parents are caring and protective of their children. And even in some divorced families, as long as the parents separated peacefully and the love from both sides for her hasn't diminished at all, he will still grow up to be a generous and outgoing person. On the other hand, children from families where the parents are always arguing or domineering usually tend to be more sensitive and insecure. The family atmosphere really does have an impact on a person.
This is something that cannot be denied. From what I've heard so far, it seems like your requirements aren't that difficult. To put it simply, you just hope the other person has the right values and comes from a harmonious family. Do you have any additional hidden requirements?
Would you consider it a requirement to have at least a bachelor's degree and a stable job for both people? Can you actually have good conversations with each other? But nowadays, young people are all very individualistic and have their own ideas. It's really hard to have a serious exchange and communicate your thoughts with each other.
So how did the girls you met before react?
They just think your standards are too high. As an older guy, you want to be picky, but can you really afford to be? You only know how to pick others, but can you meet those standards yourself? But honestly, we really can meet them. The main issue is with our son. As parents of a technically skilled, knowledgeable engineering type, we know these requirements ourselves and can filter people accordingly. But every time he just honestly lays everything out in a long-winded way to others. Tell me, which girl wouldn't get a headache hearing all that?
So as parents, we also need to guide them properly. Some boys and girls just mature a bit later.
Side sons and
daughters are like this.
So after hearing all this, do you think there's anything wrong with what this mom said?
Some girls from the academy leave me speechless. They treat my place like their own. There was this girl from the academy, born in 1994. Not a girl. She was divorced, a daughter, tall, 1.7 meters, and did live streaming. She can make about 10,000 a year. I originally thought it should be easy for her to find someone, so I asked her what kind of person she was looking for. Oh my, do you know what her requirements are? The guy has to be at least 1.77 meters tall, have a monthly income of over 10,000, own property and a car, and most importantly, he must be unmarried. Seriously, what are you relying on? You're divorced, have a daughter, and yet you demand someone with a high income, tall, and also never married. She only accepts guys who are at most 2 years older than her, or younger such outstanding men. With so many young unmarried girls out there, do you really think those guys would pick you? She thinks she's very beautiful. When I open her photos, oh my God, every part of her face looks like it's been worked on. Have you been watching too many beauty filters on live streams and now actually believe you look like that? You think if celebrities can have relationships with younger men, you can too. I'm honestly speechless. Mom, open the door for Wu Yu. It's all fake.
You're 58 and want to find someone who's 30? Even if you wanted someone in their 40s, I could still help you out.
I came here just to find someone in their 30s. Aren't there plenty of people in their 30s here?
There are plenty of people in their 30s here. But no one here is looking for a 60-year-old Yasuo. You could retire already.
The couple will retire next year.
How much is your pension?
About 6,000.
You got 2 resettlement apartments, split 1.5 of them, and a woman in her 30s would marry you. That would mean becoming a stepmom, and soon she'd be a step-grandma. Do you really think that's possible?
I'm not looking for a local woman anymore. I'll find a girl from out of town. Why wouldn't it be possible to find someone in their 30s? Besides, even if you did, you wouldn't be able to have kids anymore.
If you want to find a girl from out of town, go look in the countryside or at senior matchmaking events. Here, everyone has good conditions. Most of them are teachers at experimental primary school or doctors at public hospitals. How could I possibly help you with that?
I'm not going to those senior matchmaking events. My apartment is worth over 6 million. I want someone young. Isn't it your policy that if you don't succeed, you don't charge? Fine, I'll pay cash.
No matter how much money you offer me, I still won't take your case. If you had assets worth over 100 million, well, that might be reasonable. But you just have one apartment and you're about to retire. You still think I'm doing you a favor? Please do me a favor instead. Okay.
I'm a post-90s, returnee with a master's degree, and I'm 32 years old now. Up to now, I still haven't found a partner. My shortcomings are pretty obvious. I'm a bit older, and my personality is rather sensitive. I know, I definitely am. Yeah, it's really hard for me to find a partner now. I also don't want to drag anyone else down, so honestly, I don't want to waste any more time on this. Based on my own failed life experiences, there's something I really want to tell a lot of girls. You really need to have self-awareness. Don't go on about how men will change their hearts and all that. In many cases, it's actually the girls themselves who mess things up. You need to learn to spend the money you earn yourself and handle your own emotions. Men are out there doing big things. Do you really expect them to take care of a woman's little moods? What kind of woman does a high-quality man look for as a wife? Of course, he'll choose someone who puts him first in everything, who considers his feelings, and even supports his career, virtuous wife and good mother. If you can't handle every little detail and think about things from a man's perspective, then what does a man need you for? Just as a tool for having children? Seriously, while you're still young, you should hurry up and change your bad temper and learn more things. You need to think about what skills can really please a man. Think about what men need. Otherwise, you might just waste your time and end up unable to get married.
At noon today, I arranged a blind date for a single man and woman. Let me tell you, I was so angry, I almost got mastitis. The man is 33 years old, a manager in a private company, owns a car and a house, and has an annual salary of 100,000 yuan. His conditions are comparable to those of a model husband. The woman is 32 years old. She works in auditing with an annual salary of 150,000 yuan. So her conditions aren't bad either. The two of them met once last month. And since they thought it went pretty well, they agreed to meet for a second time today. But let me tell you, after today's meeting, they almost got into a fight on the spot. And then both of them called me one after another to complain. I've told you before, if they contact me right after meeting up, it's basically never a good sign. As soon as the woman started talking, I was so angry I almost spat out my food. She said he wasn't sincere and had a bad attitude. I asked him what happened, and he started complaining too, listing 4 grievances. First, the man clearly knew we were meeting today, so why didn't you drive to pick me up? It's so cold in the middle of winter and you made me take a taxi there. Second, why didn't you create any romance or surprises for me on our second meeting? She felt that the man didn't seem very sincere, that he wasn't genuinely interested in being with her. Third, when they were eating, the man didn't consider her taste at all and ordered a bunch of dishes that women generally don't like. The fourth thing that drove her crazy was that after the meal, he actually made her pay the bill. She said, "Do you think I lack money? You made me pay for a meal that wasn't even to my taste." After hearing all this, I was honestly so frustrated it felt like my blood vessels were half blocked. Then, the man started calling me to explain, saying he didn't know she wanted him to pick her up. He thought just agreeing on a place to meet was enough. As for the romance and surprises, he felt that since it was only their second meeting, there was no need to go overboard. When it came to eating, I asked him what he wanted to eat. He was just busy playing on his phone and didn't even give me a single word in response. After I asked him several times in a row, he finally just replied with 2 words, "Whatever." As for the bill, the guy said at first I didn't want him to pay, mainly because his attitude was so indifferent throughout the whole meal. I tried several times to find topics to talk about and get closer to him, but he just ignored me. In the end, the guy directly snapped at me saying, "Since we're on a blind date, why are you pretending to be so aloof? Do I owe you something?" With such a long face. After hearing that, the other party just grabbed their bag and left. Later, I replied to my aunt's neighbor. And to be honest, at 32 years old, still thinking you're 23, that really seems a bit immature. If you're over 30, don't expect the guy to create some kind of romantic surprise for you. If you want romance and surprises, why don't you go to northern Myanmar, right? If you're over 30 and going on blind dates, as long as the conditions are suitable and you don't dislike each other, that's already the most reliable outcome. If you still expect a man to passionately pursue you, to coax you, let me tell you, that's just daydreaming. But once a woman is over 30, you should learn to provide emotional value to others. Don't think too highly of yourself. If you want to get married, you need to learn to lower your stance. If you meet someone with better conditions than you, be modest and patient. If you meet someone about the same as you, you need to understand and accommodate each other. You're not a princess. If you keep putting on airs, I'm telling you, you'll end up single for life.